What's going on, everybody? Today we're talking about Hell 5 and how to get there sooner. I'm going to go over a couple of tips to help you get there maybe a couple of days early. That way you can start progressing your character even faster in the weeks to come. Let's get into it. All right, so as you can see here, I have been ship farming, and I've been doing this the past couple of days, as well as some other like vault runs and things like that, in order to keep my XP up to the kind of bare minimum, at least from what I am doing so far. You can see the server Paragon level is 208. Normally I'm about 4 to 5 levels above that, and I consistently stay at around that mark over the last week, and I will try to do so in the future. The reason I mentioned the server Paragon level is because 208 is pretty close to Hell 5. And if I just head to West March here, we can actually see the incoming Hell 5 level requirement, and we'll note that it's 240. And if that's the case, then that means in approximately, of course, it depends on what type of player you are, in about 11 days, we are going to get access to Hell 5. 11 days puts the server Paragon at 230, which means that you need to farm 10 levels above to get to Hell 5. Now, I know some people can do it in about 9 to 10 days if you're a turbo hard grinder, but most people are going to be at around that 11 to, in fact, not even close to 11, but most likely the 13 to 16 day mark when the server Paragon level actually reaches 240, which, as you can see here, Hell 5 is at. So if that's the case, then we need to get a head start here because we got about 2 weeks to plan in order for us to go ahead and get to Hell 5. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Battle Pass. This is a huge thing. Now, I'm not going to talk about Battle Pass stacking because another person has gone ahead and done a bunch of math on it and showcased that it does not work a while ago. This is a long time ago. So we're not talking about Battle Pass stacking necessarily. We're talking about saving Battle Pass. And the reason why I mention this is because the way this works basically is that you put in the same amount of daily time right now, and you go ahead and you do your daily activities. This ends up most likely, without the Battle Pass, going ahead and dropping down some levels, and then you're going to save all of that experience for when it comes time, when you're about that 5 to 6 level mark away from Hell 5. This will give you about a 2 to 3 day early access into Hell 5. Now, this works very, very well for you casual players out there, because what ends up happening is instead of claiming your Battle Pass as you get it, what ends up happening is you start to drop down a little bit further behind because you are doing less activities within your day and you're going to be lower level, which means when it comes closer to that time, for when it's closer to Hell 5, you can pop it all and get that more XP amount because you've dropped down a little bit lower in levels, yet you're doing the exact same activity since whenever you're doing it. And even it's more so if you decide to go ahead and wait. Let's say you decide to take a break, save your Battle Pass, because if you break, you're going to get more XP from your Battle Pass, etc., etc. So what this is here is this is about a week and a half of Battle Pass. I ended up getting about half a week's worth when that season kind of swapped over, and the Battle Pass just reset last night. So that means I'm going to start stacking this up again when it comes time of the kind of Hell 5 area. When I'm about 5 to 6 levels away, I'm going to go ahead and claim all of this, which, by the way, we're going to get about 2 more weeks of the Battle Pass in. So this whole week, which is 2,400, and then another week of 2,400 is about 4,800 points, which we can stack up, which is very, very good. So super, super important that you go ahead and get your Battle Pass done and save it for when we're closer to that area. Again, the strategy behind this is not that you're going to get an insane amount of experience and you're going to get it at that lower amount. It's that what happens is because you're doing the exact same activity, let's say you're spending 2 hours a day, well, you're going to spend the same amount of 2 hours today as in tomorrow. And if you claim your Battle Pass now, that's going to get you to that higher XP bracket, which means you're going to get less XP overall, rather than just kind of doing your same activity and then claiming it at the higher XP bracket. So that's the first tip here. Save your Battle Pass, stack it up, and just don't claim it until we get closer to that Hell 5. Now, the second tip here is going to be ways to get combat rating specifically in Hell 4. Now, for those of you that are out there that are perhaps in those lower difficulties and you're a newer player, the best advice I can give you to go ahead and get to that higher difficulty is actually go ahead and progress your Paragon levels as much as you possibly can. Focus on experience first, and then what you can do is start running a couple of legendaries and getting the legendary drops, because the higher Paragon level you are, the higher drop rate you are, or drop, I guess, instead of a drop rate, it's going to be drop quality, because the gear stats are going to be better for you. And then once you get that combat rating, go ahead and jump into the challenge rift and do the highest level of challenge rift that you possibly can. And the reason for this is, let's say you go ahead and do 60. Well, you are now going to get hell 3 items in your gambler from the vendor over here. So then what you can do is save your gold that entire time, and then use your gold when you unlock those higher level difficulties. Because let's say you hit Paragon 80, you can finish that challenge rift. Let's say after you finish that challenge rift, let's say you jump up to Paragon 210 or whatever. Well, guess what? You're going to get Paragon 210 gear from the gambler, which is very, very good. It's the best way to go ahead and supercharge your combat rating in order for you to get to Hell 5 quicker. But if you're already here, go ahead and start farming a bunch of dungeons. Now, most of you are probably already doing a little bit of dungeons here and there to get your set items, but the best way to go ahead and get combat rating here is to farm dungeons, because the problem with legendary farming or open world farming is that not only is the drop rate similar compared to set item farming. For example, let's say I were to spend 10 dungeons. Well, according to the drop rates that I've received, I should get about 1 to 2 set items. Let's be generous and say, or let's be rather not generous and say I get 1 set item, which takes me about 30 to 45 minutes. Well, in open world farming, that same amount of 30 to 45 minutes on the average player's account will get you 1 to 2 legendary items as well. And this is not even including that you can get legendary items from the dungeons themselves. And so if you're unlucky, both are going to get you roughly the same amount of drops. However, most players consistently get legendary item upgrades, and so it's harder to get an upgrade. For example, here on my character, I happen to have 4 triple stat legendaries, and get this, I've been farming dungeons for the past 2 weeks, and I have literally 0 triple stat. Granted, I've been incredibly unlucky. In fact, every single set item I've ever farmed in the last 3 weeks is not triple stat. And so this is going to be a huge, huge bonus into combat rating, especially for those players out there that may have gotten their sets and forgotten about their set items. So this is going to give you enough combat rating to get to, keep in mind, this is going to be a lot of combat rating, because I believe you need 5,250. Let me just check here. So, it's 5,025 combat rating in order for you to actually farm Hell 5. So if I were to equip my highest combat rating pieces, I would barely make it, because you can see here in my character sheet, I'm at 4881. Granted, I am running just plain old gray set for ship farming right now. But if I were to equip my highest combat rating pieces, I would have a little bit more combat rating than necessary to farm Hell 5. That is very, very important if you want to get early access to Hell 5. Now, at the end of the day, this doesn't really matter a crazy amount, but if you want to get a little bit of a head start for people, this is one way to do it. But if you are that type of player that's like, okay, I don't have any super high combat rating, I don't want to necessarily plan for this a crazy amount, just keep doing what you're doing. Again, the head start for people, all it's going to do is give them more combat rating, which in turn is going to get them more combat rating from the Heliquary and all that stuff. So it's not a crazy big deal, but I know some people out there would like it. Me personally, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I am doing the battle pass because obviously this is literally 0 effort required. I'm literally doing less effort because I'm just not claiming it. And so that is something I recommend you do. But if you want to go ahead and just ignore the combat rating for now, it's not a huge deal for Hell 5. But I figured I'd put this video out there because I know a lot of people are interested in kind of min-maxing or even just getting a little bit extra early access into Hell 5. So there you go. Let me know what you all think. Are you excited about Hell 5? I know it's going to be the same thing, but is it still exciting nonetheless, getting higher combat rating pieces? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next video.